Alrighty, XL2 Academy versus Toronto Esports, the snowy mountains of Nepal here, Jameson.
Yeah, we're going to be starting off on Shrine. Both teams hovering over the Sombra right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did swap off. We have to talk about the synergy between Mangachu, Clone Man, and Adam at this point. They have such a deep hero pool. They can run almost any composition, but it looks like we're going to see a Sombra off.
I just want the record to show I was kidding at the last test segment that we'd see Mangachu on Sombra. That was a joke. I was making fun of the idea they could do it. And, my brain's broken. But now the first fight positioning is underway.
Yeah, mega health pack taken by Mangachu there in the low ground now. Both teams just taking opposite positions here, trying to size each other up, trying to scout out any kinds of compositions here as Clone Man facing off against his counterpart.
Well, both teams right now take it easy, not overly diving into each other right now. You see Clone Man off the disengage, but Narrow's gonna get caught out here. Early pickoff from Nene for XL2 Academy, and now they can start moving their way forward. Dalton going to fall, and now it's a two-man advantage. They can just rush their way in. Toronto Esports going to be giving up first capture, and it's time for a reset.
Yeah, Mangachu with 2 kills there at the end on both supports. Puts him at 54% towards that first EMP, but Nero's not to be outdone. He's actually keeping pace with him right now. Nene going very deep into him, but wasn't able to get the secured kill onto Pumple.
Well, Nene right now is going to have the Pulse Bomb up for the next fight. They also have the Coalescence in reserve. XL2 Academy, plenty of tools here. Nene looking for the Pulse Bomb over the top, in an ambush positioning. Not the greatest spot for where they're actually moving in from, but now in over the top, looking for Lucio. Throws out the bomb, not going to connect, not what he was looking for. But Toronto Esports, the front line's getting decimated. Guardian getting torn right through. The Coalescence doing its work from Goliath. And XL2 Academy just gets to easily hang on.
Yeah, even though the Pulse Bomb didn't connect, the collateral damage was there. It is AoE, so Shu was low along with that Coalescence. They were able to just finish him off. XL2 already at 45% now. They're going to have that EMP to try and shut down Toronto's next push. Shu has to be careful on this Zenyatta.
Mangachu going to go to the back, getting help, and now EMP is at the ready. He's going to come in around from the flank, looking for Zenyatta. That's his main target. Moves into the back, drops the EMP, and is he going to be able to get the pick off? He does with the aid of Midnight, and that's all they were looking for there. A good EMP to set things up, and XL2 Academy going to stay on the winning side here. Toronto Esports trying to fight back a little bit, but it's not going to work, and in fact, they actually ended up wasting Sound Barrier.
Yeah, even though Mangachu was already looking for that dive onto Shu, it all started off with Clone Man. Was already in there with that Winston on top of him. Cruz now swapping off onto the Mercy here. They did commit that sound barrier into the last fight. Still, Cruz is going to try and crucially keep Shu up through another EMP if it does come up. Mangachu only at 50% so far.
Toronto Esports looking for way back in. Right now they have had no success. Here's a signal from Nene, takes down Cruz. Cruz out of the fight immediately. But Toronto Esports still with options here. They only have Shu the rely on for support, and he's gonna fall, so their healing is out of it. Nene, plenty of room to roll around and work with here. Goliath clearing out with the Coalescence. And XL2 Academy clearing out the space they need. They got the early support kills. We are in overtime, and now they're resecuring the point. This might be a clean sweep and a goose egg for XL2.
Yeah, XL2, Nene with that Pulse Bomb. Got the kill onto Cruz, taking the Mercy out of there, but more importantly, he actually forced out that Transcendence because they were stuck in that corner. He wanted to stay alive. Shu had to use it. He could not hold on to it, and as soon as it dissipated, we saw XL2 just crashing upon the bodies of Toronto Esports and wiping them clean now as we move on to Village here on Nepal.
Well, it did work out that Mangachu was on the Sombra last time, but I was just a little disappointed because Shrine is where he's been so good as Pharah, but we still do get the Pharah show. Of course, Mangachu, this is his signature hero. It is what you think of when you think of him. He has been more versatile in recent days. He's really worked to expand his hero pool and not be what many people at one point considered to be a Pharah one-trick. See what Toronto Esports has in store to handle it, and it actually could be rough for them here, Jameson.
Yep, they're going with the Sombra once again. Now the hack, of course, will prevent him from actually using his passive, so that is huge, but he's got to be able to just get the hack off at all right now. We do have Toronto on the offensive, trying to corner them in. They have successfully pushed XL2 back, but it's Mangachu still not being dealt with. 2 kills already, Nero and Cruz down. They're trying their best to answer back, but Toronto Esports not able to find their footing.
It's classic stuff from Mangachu here. It's still not entirely a one fight. Toronto was doing well in the ground war, but Mangachu, he is the problem right now. Barrage already built up. I don't even think they realize it here. He wants to demech Cloman first. You can get rid of Cloman, you can easily drop the barrage, and now he's gonna drop the barrage here immediately. And Guardian, he was there in the pressure, but it's still not enough overall. Mangachu has done his job.
And he's res right back up. Why not? It is the Pharah. You want to make sure she has that positioning there. She's picking up even more kills. Nene going in. Cruz falls to that pulse bomb. 25% secured for XL2. Goliath is going to have that Valkyrie for this next fight.
Meanwhile, Mangachu going to be back into the fight in a moment. He will have that support from Goliath, as you mentioned, but now it's just the setup here from XL2 where they want to ambush Toronto, and they might get just that. Dalton executed the combination between Winston and Tracer. They got exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah, Nene with just a great read there, capping that spot. During that time, though, Toronto were able to sneak their way onto the point and flip it, but it should go back into XL2 favors shortly, as we just have a stall coming up from Toronto.
Toronto, again, they are able to recap the point, and they're trying to get a little bit more out of it, but overall, not necessarily worthwhile for them. Meanwhile, XL2 continues stockpiling the ammunition right now, getting a whole lot of ults in reserve, and makes things very difficult for Toronto, who has to bring this back.
Quick, cheeky swap off coming up from Shu, forcing out that res from Goliath. But rarely do we get to see a res mid-battle there, so it's used quickly by them now. Here's the engage as they try to dive on. It's Midnight to start it all off. Nero falls. Mangachu with the barrage. Not able to pick up two, but he got a crucial one onto Pumple.
Mangachu moving back into the side, looking for a little bit of extra stall here, but no, that's a full reset for Toronto. They're going to be down to their final fight here, Jamerson. They have to go against a wall of ultimates.
And they've been holding on to these. XL2, they've been using them sparingly. I believe it was just Goliath along with Mangachu that really used their ultimates. Nene, Pulse Pump, whatever. It's half an ultimate now. They have to get out to the point.
Look at that, Shu's already low. Takes a rocket to the back. Mangachu, the assassin from the skies, grabs one, looks for Lucio going, get me anywhere but here. Rockets, gonna take him down. Cruz not able to dance his way out of that one. Not the UK dancing skills you would want. As XL2 Academy, 99%. It's looking like they will cleanly take Nepal, and they do.
Yeah. 14%, that's all they gave up, but I mean, it wasn't a winning team fight. It was just a nice cheeky move coming out from Toronto just to get that 14%, but still, it was a dominant win here coming out from XL2.
Those were incredibly fast. Like, those matches were quick. Where do you think, I guess, the weakness was against XL2? Like, XL2 didn't give them a break at all.
Raw mechanical play.
Yep.
When oftentimes you can go in Overwatch and be like, this is strategy. There's, the players are playing each other close, but the strategy is clearly playing them over the top. In this case here, it felt like there was just a raw difference in talent where you have even fights on paper that end up being not so even when the execution component comes into play. And look, I mean, you want to go to the last round, Mangachu's Pharah was in prime form.
Mangachu's Pharah was in prime form, but I'm also looking at Nene, particularly. He does come from Apex. He was on LW Red during Season 4 there. While they didn't actually compete, they did withdraw, I believe. The strong thing is, excuse me, no, that was LW Blue. But the thing is that Nene, he just had the Tracer vs Tracers. Dalton wasn't able to do anything up against them. When we saw the read, particularly there on Village, where he knew that he was going to approach from Kitchen, and they cut him off with Clone Man to help him out and get rid of that Tracer quickly. And Dalton just never found any footing whatsoever in this matchup.
When it comes to what you guys were talking about as far as Mangachu's just superiority with Pharah, it's pretty nuts. We have it here on the replay.
This is classic Mangachu. The amount of times I've seen him do this on this map in particular is silly, and it's just what he does. One of the best Pharahs in the game. Gets one early pickoff, follows up another, and builds up a barrage after just one early fight. Mangachu show. That's why we have multiple highlights of him here, where it's Cruz. Look, I've hung out with Cruz. I know he reacts to this. Cruz was irritated. He was upset.
The booper becoming the booped at that point. Just juggled left and right.
You guys are giving so much love to Mangachu, but I'm like, Mercy was clutch. Like the resurrections, like the timing for her ult, really like I feel like that really clenched so many of those team fights.
I mean,
because she would just bring Pharah right back up.
Exactly, and crucially, Shu he went for that really cheeky Widowmaker pick where he was just in spawn. He spots him over over the high ground, over the ceilings, the roofs, gets the pick, but of course, Adam is there, resurrect him, bring him back into this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of those things where normally if you weren't running a Mercy, it would be a little bit more effective. But the thing is that Mercy and Pharah are best friends, so it's just one of those things where it was still worthwhile, right? You put the resurrection on cooldown. It means if you get another early pick via normal methods, he might not be coming back up. But still, I'd say it's a testament to just Mangachu's ability to work the battlefield that it wasn't when he was just killing people as well. It also hurt the ability for the opposition to actually come in cleanly because it's Pharah.
Yeah,
right?
they take so much poke damage. That damage-boosted rockets are so deadly. When you're just trying to make a beeline onto the point, he's still able to tag them all. It's AoE. It's going to build up a lot of ultimate for himself, too. He went for some really good barrages himself and didn't ever get punished because, well, they didn't try to do anything on Toronto's side to try and counter him. Usually, you know, there are two different ways you can try and approach this when you're not running a counter Pharah. You either focus on the land battle, right, and just go for the dive and try to kill everyone on the ground, or you try to pick up a Soldier 76 or a McCree to try and deal with it. But trying to go in for that dive didn't work out for them at all.
Well, the main person they had was Guardian, who was trying to like be anti-air D.Va. But here's the thing: D.Va's so important right now that if D.Va's like trying to be anti-air, it might not be enough.
Absolutely. So we have the picks up now. This is Toronto's pick. They're picking Numbani. And then I guess given how they played in that last match, they got, I mean, XL2 was oppressive on Nepal. How do you think they need to switch things up to kind of regain some ground?
Prepare for Torbjorn.
Prepare for the Torbjorn.
Make it double. Like, look, if Mangachu could have a theme song for this, and it's mostly just because I'm not trying to just go Mangachu's the only part here, but he's had the most ridiculous games on Numbani, including losses, by the way, like horrible, terrible losses, but it's also the map where you're more likely to see crazy hijinks.
I'm Torbrisa. I'm calling it now. Torbrisa is coming out on defense for XL2. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there right now.
What can you? What about? What can Toronto do though, as far as to counter to help themselves kind of claw back up?
Again, like we don't have like as much information as we would like on how these teams play. So, you know, maybe they play differently because Control is very DM heavy. While here on Numbani, it's set plays. You go for a certain dive or you try to make a certain approach. So maybe they have that.
They might, and I mean, I'd say first of all is that, you know, if they've done their homework on this team, I mean, I would say first of all know that Adam himself is not a really easy pick. Like, one thing about Adam's playstyle is that he's one of the hardest supports to early pick, but he does play more conservatively, right? So, you know, turn your attention to other supports, and also as a general rule, I mean, look, probably don't be surprised if you do see a Torb here early on on the defense.
Very cool. Well, let's check it out. Let's see who they pick.
Mean Streets in Numbani here. Ah, yeah, let's go. I need more Torb in my life, James.
There it is. I hope it goes with
wait.
this. Clone Man on the Lucio? Triple support? Possibly? No. We're just getting debated. We're just getting debated. Why do we even do this to ourselves?
No! Oh, man. You know what? No, you don't get to just change this. Or maybe
can't play with our hearts, Mangachu.
Wait, what
Stop
if it's a double
fake?
What if he jumps off with Torbjorn only to come back in as Torb?
Or as Sombra. You cursed us with this, by the way.
Yeah, it's fine.
You tempted fate and the gods with this.
Look, I'm sure he can play it fine. I mean, it worked out well to begin with. I just didn't think he would be the one playing it. Anyways, taking a look at the two teams here. XL2 Academy, they will have Adam on the Ana here in the back, so it's this Ana defense that takes advantage of long sightlines. Toronto Esports, they're going not even really standard dive. They have Winston D.Va, but they're double hit scan. Yeah, they're afraid of the Pharah.
They are afraid of the Pharah indeed, and so while they did nothing to try and counter him in the last map, they are taking every step to try and deal with him here. Adam dropped down low, he has to fall back. With the Great Biotic Nade, forces them away.
Toronto Esports right now just jockeying for this high ground positioning, using double hit scan here, and oh, well, double hit scan, meet Goliath. Zenyatta orb right to the face, and that's going to take the wind out of the sails of this push in a hurry. Reset on the way.
Mangachu still getting some poke off. Not going to be able to build up much. Never mind, he's at 40%, is able to take out Pumple with a clip.
So, XL2 Academy, breathing room here. Toronto Esports on the full reset. We do have a swap cruise going over to the Lucio, and they're done with the double hit scan, but they will be keeping McCree, and I think part of the reason is just keep McCree versus Sombra.
Oh, definitely. That flashbang can come up huge. Never mind, it's gone because Nero has now swapped off onto the Genji. They're going full dive onto XL2.
Standard is as Standard does, and this is sort of the default comp of Overwatch, or has been comp for a long time. Toronto Esports gonna dive right in over the top, and they erase Nene from the game. Successful dive, good coordination. Toronto Esports securing their positioning here on the point. And XL2 Academy, they dive back in, but haphazardly, Cloman gives up his fight for life for nearly nothing. Midnight's gonna fall as well. The tank line not getting super well supported. And Mangachu, though he has an EMP, it's not the time to use it. There's no one else alive. And that's gonna be a clean tank for Toronto.
Yeah, and that's just how you take point A in Numbani. You go for the dive. You have a Soldier 76 on that right side high ground, you just go full dive, you force him onto the low ground, and as soon as he's on the low ground, well, the Genji's able to follow up along with that Winston now. And so 4 minutes and 38 seconds for Toronto as we move into the second phase of Numbani. Dalton is lurking with this Tracer.
He's looking for the ambush right now. Meanwhile, XL2, here's their game plan. Win one good fight with EMP, swap Mangachu off to a different setup. There's the EMP in the back line. Cloman's there, they immediately take down Shu. So that's a dive they're looking for, but they lose Goliath in the back. Pumple, Primal Rage, Dalton finds Nene, and Toronto is bringing this one right back. What should have been a clean EMP fight is anything but. It's now a bit of a slobber knocker, and that's not good on second for the defense, where the offense does hold the cards.
With the way you want to hold this defense, because they are playing Adam on that Ana, they play very far back. So when the dive comes out from XL2 Academy to try and get onto Shu, they commit a lot of resources, but then they're separated. That's why you got Dalton into the back line, able to take out Nene, able to take out Adam. And so with that, the defense just crumbles once you don't have Clone Man being healed up by Adam.
I wonder what's going to happen in this fight. XL2 would just at least drain out ults if they could, but they lose Goliath immediately. He was going to be their key to dive in the Transcendence. They can't burn anything else. And Toronto Esports, they actually get to save a good amount of their reserve. They use the Transcendence, but Nero, he's going to hang on to this blade. You don't need to use it here. You're just cleaning up. They will be getting the second point. They're in a great position right now. They begin their fight on point C.
Yeah, very little time burned off the clock from Toronto Esports as they move on to the third point. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. That is an eternity here on the third point of Numbani.
And yet, it's an eternity, and yet we see teams hold for an eternity on last to begin with. It's one of the most defensive-oriented last points in the entire game, so XL2 can very easily bring this back. We have the swap for Mangachu. He's done hacking, no longer hacker, now a ninja, going over to the Genji. The key here is going to be the interplay between Goliath and Nero. Nero looking for the early Dragon Blade. Doesn't want to use it until Transcendence comes out. XL2 Academy going to wait for the last second, but they lose Midnight here. This is going to force out the Transcendence from Goliath, and that's going to be very good for Nero. Nano boost in, Adam down, Goliath, are you going to invest here? He hasn't done it just yet because the backline got destroyed. Cloman and Nene got back there, and Goliath actually used the Transcendence, but the fight was already won.
Adam, crucially, before he fell on that Ana, was able to get the Nano Boost onto Clone Man. Cleaned up the back line there. Now the fight is still taking place, but it's just the stall out. Clone Man has to jump out. He's dropped down low. He's got hunted down by Dalton, who cleans him up.
Toronto Esports flailing back onto the point. Respawn's back on the way. And now they have XL2 Academy in retreat. It's going to be a battle of two blades here. Mangachu, weakened in the back, has one blade. Nero, very full strength, coming in from the front, has a blade. Shu taken down by the pulse bomb. Tracer bows in the back, and here comes Mangachu piling on. Blade out, looking for more, gets one. Gonna be slicing Winston to ribbons here. And that's gonna be XL2 Academy finally getting a moment to breathe.
That was one extended team fight from both sides, but it's XL2 finally regaining their footing during the payload phase of this map, but they had to commit so much into that. Adam since then has swapped off onto the Lucio, already at 50% towards his ultimate, while Cruz is struggling a little bit behind as 35 right now. We'll see. The blade and the bomb are there for Toronto Esports. We'll see if Clone Man 16 with the Primal Rage could possibly try and bat back Nero, who goes in with that blade later on.
Well, Nero is basically earning interest on this blade right now. That's how long it's been in savings. He has not had a chance to bring it out. Nene gonna fall early on here. This is an excellent opportunity. Grant the blade in at 6v5, get the cleanup you're looking for. Nothing to spoil your day in terms of Transcendence, but Nero is still holding on to it, doesn't like what he sees, wants to use it, but now finally brings out the blade, looks for more, takes down Midnight mid-air. That might be where it ends. No, he gets Clone Man as well, so a good solid 2 kills from Nero, and Toronto Esports finally making their way through.
Transcendence forced out, but there are only squishies left here. As soon as it's gone, they're going to be able to clean them up. Not able to get that secured kill until Pumple jumps on top of Adam. Now, Guardian is demexed, but they are kiting away properly. Guardian's kept alive right now with that pocket from the Zenyatta. Finally falls, though. Here are the reinforcements coming out from XL2.
Blade coming out from Mangachu. It was low HP, under pressure, had no choice but to use it, but they're getting thrown off the point. Toronto Esports, the tank line, and Dalton getting the final few kills here, and they're gonna punch it through with time to spare. Still though, something that XL2 can come back from, and yet not a bad showing from Toronto.
Not bad at all. As soon as they swapped off onto that dive, they just completely changed gears there. Really wary about that fire, but they didn't have to worry about it whatsoever. Nero, like you had mentioned, he held onto that blade for quite some time, but found the proper moment. It was pretty nuts, actually. D.Va went for the self-destruct, Midnight went for the self-destruct, and Nero catches him mid-air with that blade, even dodges out from that self-destruct and doesn't get taken down by it.
I mean, really, I just thought I tuned into an episode of new anime. What's going on here, where, you know, it just opens with Genji cutting someone apart mid-air.
Ultra Instinct Genji, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Let's go. Take that, Jiren. But Toronto Esports right now, we'll see what they end up doing for their defense as it comes up here. They will be putting Nero on to the Sombra early on. Dalton is the protected 76 in the back. And XL2 Academy, well, they are going to go to some of their bread and butter here. Adam, of course, on the Mercy, but who's going to be backing up but Mangachu in the skies? So, Jamerson, what does it say here in terms of their strategy between like using both the Sombra and 76 to get in Mangachu's face?
Well, I mean, having the Soldier 76, of course, he's going to be on the high ground there. We're still looking to see what XL2 go for their tank line. I'm surprised Clone Man's currently sitting on that Reinhardt. I expect him to go back to that Winston. I mean, you have all the tools necessary from XL2 if they run that Winston to force Dalton off that high ground. So if they can, you know, use their dashes, use their jumps, along with the concussive blast from Mangachu, Dalton's going to have a difficult day trying to get any damage off.
It's not just about Dalton for me, though, is that if you look at Nero on the Sombra, one of the good things is that she can disable Pharah's jets now. So as Mangachu is coming in, the Sombra can be on high ground and get hacks off from any angle. So this is a unique wrinkle that you haven't had to deal with as much as a Pharah player recently.
This is going to be an interesting dynamic to see. We didn't quite see it earlier on and on Nepal because, well, XL2 were unrelenting in their pressure. They've already taken the high ground. As soon as their cooldowns are up, they are going to go for that dive onto the Soldier 76, force him back. Dalton now on the streets.
The tanks making room for Mangachu, plenty of room to work with here in the back. Absolutely under no pressure here whatsoever, getting damage boosted. You can't let this man be alone for that long. And he's just trying to take out Guardian right now. Rock after rocket going into D.Va, looking for the DMAC. The DMAC ends up happening. And now, doesn't have to worry about D.Va flying out. And they're almost going to give up the point for free here. Fear is in the air for Toronto Esports. They didn't even really try to contest that.
That was just beautifully set up by XL2. So they use their cooldowns to just force Dalton off the high ground, and Mangachu doesn't even try to prioritize taking him out. He just plays line of sight. He uses that bridge to make sure that Dalton isn't getting any free fire off at all. So now he's already swapping off. Dalton is onto the Tracer.
Dalton onto the Tracer in the back. Mangachu going deeper. We have to go deeper is where he's at right now. No, you have to get hacked. Mangachu goes, wait, I can't fly. My wings have been clipped. But Mercy is there. Adam with the support. And he gets to survive, and it's not even a stagger.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, the best support to have when you're on that far, just back away, you got the pocket, it's all right. Mangachu's still sitting on that barrage now. The tank looking to move forward, and there it is. Nero with the EMP comes out, but they haven't made much of it yet.
They don't really get a good engage off the EMP. They were focusing on the EMP, didn't think about the fall through. Now XL2 Academy can move right back in. They got Pumple early on. Justice raining from the bus, as it were, and, well, not particularly worthwhile. XL2 Academy, though,
from a bus.
They didn't need the barrage. It was Nene in the back, did enough. It was a distraction. Mangachu's going to get brought back up, and it's still pretty good for XL2.
Mangachu, I believe, recipient 3 out of 3 resurrections so far from the Mercy, and well worth it, really.
Adam, at this point, just keeping his hand eternally outstretched towards Mangachu, going, I will bring you up when you're down. Never going to give you up. Yeah, I'm not finishing it. Midnight takes down Nero early on with the self-destruct. XL2 Academy, again, keeping the momentum up in their favor as Nene continues to dive into the back. They have a big advantage here, and even as the self-destruct comes in from Guardian, it was on a hope and a prayer, and those hopes and prayers not really getting answered as XL2 continues to dominate.
I mean, it's just both of these DPS, Mangachu and Nene, they are just completely invisible. Toronto Esports haven't been able to deal with either of them whatsoever. Dalton is struggling on the opposite end, along with Nero. Now here's a barrage. It's Clone Man to finish off Pumple. Shu does fall, and that's 4 out of 4 resurrections for Mangachu.
XL2 Academy setting an equally blazing fast time through 2. Let's not forget, Toronto did the same to XL2 Academy, so both teams at Hang Point 3 relatively even, but this is where XL2 can be the difference makers here. They're about to have the Valkyrie up. They go for poke, let the Valkyrie help them out here. If they can somehow pick off Cruz early, that would be the key to victory. But Dalton has something to say about it. Looking for Clone Man in the back, dashing in.
Got it. He's going in. He's got that Pulse Bomb. Trying to get the DMEC now. There it is. The Pulse Bomb does not connect, but Nero did with his headshot onto Nene, taking him out. XL2 forced to back away as the Deadeye is out. The Pharah Mercy combo able to kite away from that.
XL2 Academy gets to reset a little bit here. Valkyrie fading away, no longer in progress here. Clone Man under assault, almost taken down by McCree, as Mangachu now, no, he's the one getting taken down by McCree. Nero, one good headshot, ending the day there, and the poke from Toronto Esports, unrelenting. Not even an energy beam going to be able to bring that back as Goliath Coalescence falling on an empty plea.
5 out of 5 resurrections onto Mangachu now. He has definitely got the 100% pocket of Adam here. Now 4 minutes left for XL2 Academy to try and complete this out, but that's a huge pickoff. That's the damage boosted rocket.
Dalton, much like the Dwarves, dug too deep, got caught by Mangachu there. Now 6 out of 5 barrage in from the sky, and no one's there. Everyone read the weather report early this morning, but still, it's an edge for XL2, moving their way forward. The poking from Mangachu, forcing Nero to roll out of the way, but Goliath gets cut by Dalton. Now, here comes Toronto, off the pick. Adam gets a safe res off. There's the Deadeye! Takes down Adam, punishes him for the res, and that should be enough for Toronto Esports to buy themselves some serious time.
It's interesting to see, coming up from Toronto Esports, how they split up this hit-scan duo, right? Nero going for the McCree, Dalton goes for the 76 or the Tracer now, but Nero has been doing a great job so far with this McCree, really shutting down that Pharah. You need that burst damage to deal with, and so Mangachu not feeling it anymore is going to be swapping off onto the Genji.
And to Mangachu's credit, he's been grinding out Genji very heavily. He's upped his level of play on it from where it used to be, but the problem is with 3 minutes left, it's going to be a while till he gets a blade. He will get a blade up before the end, but this is still going to put Toronto Esports at the time edge, unless XL2 is able to get this here. Dalton in the back, nice dive between him and his Winston. They get Goliath early, and XL2 just not really able to aggress in a way that made too much sense here. They throw in the self-destruct, not to any effect.
Not at all, but Mangachu has gotten the kill onto Dalton. Now they've got the man advantage. They're still low on HP, but Adam is going to be able to get them up. Never mind, Mangachu falls now. Nene tries to keep them into this. Cruz has fallen. They're going to go ahead and commit into this with that Transcendence. Will Toronto Esports, but they're still not finding any frags. XL2 just kite away.
XL2, there was a moment there where Nene was trying to open the way, but it doesn't quite happen. 2 minutes left. XL2 still looking to be aggressive here.
They are, but Toronto, they've got their full respawns now, but they've burned both of their support ultimates. Nene going in.
Transcendence and Blade are both up right now. Nene's the distraction in the back. The real front line here is going to be Goliath. Opens up the Transcendence. Oh no, he wasn't able to save Clone Man. Clone Man couldn't get into the healing circle in time. And Mangachu says, screw it. I'm going in. I'm going to die hopelessly. Flashbanged, taken down. A hold by Toronto Esports.
Toronto Esports forcing them back, and they were just playing so well there.
Wait. No, Toronto, get the point. It's turned back the other way. It's turning the other way where now they have to get right back in. It was going well, but it was Nene and Midnight able to suddenly start bringing this back. Toronto not even out of the fire here just yet as Midnight piles on. And Toronto Esports, they looked like they had it. Now they're in desperation. Transcendence out as XL2 Academy continues to aggress.
Dalton barely able to make it out of spawn. He has to go back in. Nero dropped down low. He's got the orb on him. He will fall. Midnight and Clone Man 16 doing so much for the team. XL2 will complete this out. We're going to extra innings.
That was ridiculous play, especially when the tanks have XL2 to help bring that back. I mean, it's not often where you put things behind your Transcendence and your Blade, and think about how that opened. Clone Man picked off, couldn't benefit from the Transcendence. Mangachu just goes full YOLO, pulls out the Blade, and just gets destroyed, and they still brought that back.
That was a great shutdown coming out from Nero, but I'm so surprised that that was not enough, because that was huge. Blade coming in, we got the flashbang to shut him down. They got the kills, they had the man advantage, but that self-destruct coming out from Midnight really forced them out of the anthill like ants, and from there they just weren't able to regain the positioning. Nene was able to pick apart the lone targets. That was huge for them.
Well, XL2 Academy, we just saw them attack, but guess what? We get to see them attack again. They did not have as much time left in their time bank, but one thing that's really worth noting about Numbani is that it's kind of a deception. Because of how easily you can get through second in many cases, you can take point A, be in overtime, and still overtime push pretty darn deep into point C if things go your way. So XL2 Academy is still very much in this fight, but they do need this first attack to go well. They'll get 2 attacks, but it's going to be much more difficult for them to get that game-winning momentum if this first entry fails.
Toronto, they're running that same defense with the Tracer and the Soldier 76. This time, Dalton going on the Tracer. Nero will be on the Soldier 76. We'll see if XL2 go for that same approach, force him off the high ground. There's the boop, and now they're going to jump onto him shortly.
Mangachu right now, plenty of room here in the back. You saw the hack attempt that might have been coming in from the back. Mangachu well aware. Flexes back into the outside, and look at this tank pressure right now. They isolate the tank into the back line, but they're not able to finish it off. Mangachu gonna have to back out just a bit, and it works out for Toronto Esports. They dealt with the initial dive, they won the ground war, and now it's only 35 seconds left for XL2.
Yeah, that time XL2 Academy were able to just the first time around, they were able to actually position themselves on the point, and Mangachu was able to use the line of sight to actually avoid Nero on, or Dalton on the Soldier 76. This time he was caught out because the tanks were waiting for him. They were waiting to try and jump onto Adam. Now on the low ground, they're spotted out.
Dalton, the rewind doesn't really work for him there because he was in there for 3 seconds. He does finally get out, but that was risky. Adam, though, got picked off by Shu in the back line. A damage-boosted Ana is what that was for the record. So Ana, the DPS threat, removes a main source of healing from XL2. They just got to go into here. They have no more time left to go. They touch it with Tracer. They're trying to buy a little bit more time, but at some point they have to commit here. Cloman staying alive for an awful long time, but Mangachu has fallen, and Toronto Esports, now with everything they need, the attack visor is up, and they're going to clean out XL2.
XL2 got red here, and this time Toronto Esports were ready for this Far Mercy composition, so they get shut down now. Toronto Esports are going to have about 2 minutes to just get a third here on point A.
And 2 minutes to get a third on point A, very easily doable. I mean, you do see full holds on the body from time to time. They're just not particularly common, particularly if you're looking at a full hold where you stop them from even getting a third. So right now, Toronto Esports well on their way to evening up the series 1-1.
And already, they're hovering over the dive. First, they try to go for the double hit scan to try and deal with Mangachu's possible far, but this time, they've decided we're just going to go with the dive first, and why not? It's such a quick composition that if you do need to swap out, you can just dash on back, use your blinks and everything, get back to spawn and change up your comp.
Well, that's a great point about the composition changing as the map has evolved, but also XL2 Academy has shown their hand. They showed that we're not going to be running fair on defense, even though that was something that Mangachu liked to do in the past. So Toronto Esports are making a few in-game adjustments, and again, the burden on them here, not too high. 1/3 is all they need. XL2 Academy in a rough spot indeed.
Now, I was really impressed by how quickly Toronto on their offensive were able to change their gears and go for that dive. It was a very deadly dive here. Nene is going to be on that Soldier 76 again. He's got to be careful on that high ground. Midnight and Cloneman have to be cognizant of this and be ready to counter dive upon the tank line.
Nene is going to just try and stay safe in the back. Toronto Esports are just going to go in as hard as they can. Dalton coming up this left flank right now. And remember, it's Tracer. She can blink from this position to basically anywhere she needs to go to in this first point. And instead, free damage on the Cloman, forces out the leap early on, and now Toronto Esports has a good opportunity here. They don't have to worry about the Winston counter dive. They lay the damage at the Midnight, but they lost Pumple. It was a nice focus fire from XL2, and that certainly makes things a little bit more difficult for the offense in Toronto, where their goal should be to just hold the point, but down a tank, they're going to back out. They do have time to work with.
Yeah, the idea there for Toronto was just to apply pressure with Pumple on the point, but he was out by himself, and so he instantly got focused down by Cloneman and by Midnight. So now they've burned some time off. Now it's a minute left. Now here's the hack, Mangachu right onto D.Va.
down Guardian. This is great focus fire, you hacker. Get rid of the defensive matrix. She's out of her mech. Beautiful stuff coming out there from Mangachu early on. Nice focus fire, but won't be enough. Both teams down to tank. Here comes Dragonblade from Nero, and Nero takes down 2. Don't tell Nero this fight is over. It's a 3K as Nero explodes. Toronto Esports has evened up the series.
Great adjustments coming out from Toronto. Their dive looking particularly deadly now. 4-3 was our final score there on Numbani, all tied up.
That was that was interesting to me. It seemed like Toronto in map 1 was almost testing the waters. They wanted to see how aggressive that XL2 wanted to play, and then when they kind of got that gauge, they really seemed to step up.
Well, certainly we saw adjustments coming into play here from Toronto Esports. I mean, the biggest thing is just look at the adjustment we saw in Numbani where they were in mortal fear from Pharah, especially after what happened in Nepal on their attack. And then they went, okay, second time around, first attack, we know we don't have to worry about this. And in the end, they're able to punch on through. But what a performance from Nero there, where even in the losing fights early on, he was able to build up that quick Dragon Blade and just went to town to finish that off with bit of a punchline.
Yeah, and I was also impressed by Dalton. You know, in the first matchup on Nepal, I was saying that he was getting bested by Nene, but as Numbani went on, Dalton was holding his own up against him, and that's kind of just how it works when you have the difference in style between control and an escort or a hybrid map up. You don't have as many different angles that you have to worry about when you're coming in as a tracer, and so Dalton was able to take advantage of that, and Nene just didn't have him in check as he did in that first map.
If I had to describe Nene from what we've seen so far here, there's been moments of pure greatness, no doubt about that, but there's also been moments where I feel like he's kind of disappeared for a while. Yeah. So it's giving me sort of more inconsistent vibe, but there's a lot of potential there, especially because when he's been on for XL2, that's just been so many threats for Toronto to have to worry about, but Toronto definitely cleaning up their play on Numbani just now.
Yeah, and we have some footage. This is from Nero. Nero just was kind of all around one of the more solid. You know, we've got Genji up. We've also got some footage from him in Soldier 76. It was just, he was very consistent.
Very consistent, no doubt about it. And I mean, you saw that there towards the end, picking the D.Va midair. You see him on the 76 here, where plenty of room to work with. XL2 Academy put themselves in a rushed position, and Nero slams the door on them. And then let's not forget what happened at the end.
Yeah, that's actually one of the great things I've been seeing so far out of the 4 teams already competing for North America is that the players that they do pick up have a really deep hero pool. We talked about before how usually you specialize. You either go projectile or you go hit scan, and we're seeing a lot of these players being able to play both at a pretty high level.
Wasn't there some like Kid Stack commercial site where this is like, why not both? Like, I know there's some commercial or product I'm thinking of there. That's all that just reminded is like, why not both? I'll do both hit scan and projectile.
Yeah, but with these smaller rosters, it is so valuable to have a player like that, and it's already proving its worth in Nero for Toronto.
Very cool. Well, we are at the halfway mark for these guys. It is 1-1 with Toronto Esports and XL2 being evenly matched right now. We're going to go ahead and go to break, but when we come back, we'll get right back into the action. See you soon.